Hey everyone, welcome back to the Autoflux games. This is event number 4 of 5. When I originally recorded this, I said 5, but we're not there yet. That's next week. What's going to be happening today is the cars have already been run by our tame racing driver, aptly named Destigra. We're still working on names. And he has set some times for me to look at, and he's also sent me some footage to look at of these runs. So I figured today we just kind of review that footage and see if there's anything interesting in it. And yeah, I'll go over the results as well. They're kind of interesting. It's sort of as you would expect, but there are definitely some outstanding times. He also gave me some written thoughts that I'll read out for you as we go through each of these runs. So without further ado, I guess we may as well get started after I talk about some of the things going on with the games. So as this is event number 4 of 5, we're getting close to the end, and that's pretty darn exciting. Basically what's going to happen is a mystery event next week. So mysterious, I don't even know what it's going to be yet. And then there'll be a finale video, probably not a week later. It'll probably be a couple days later. It'll just be an editing exercise for me, so I just got to get that sorted out for you. But by that point, you'll probably already know who's won the competition, except for the one little piece, which is the build videos. If you go and like those, the total likes at the end are going to be tallied into the score for these cars. So the one with the most likes on their build video gets an extra 5 points. It's going to be good. That being said, this series is supported by my website, automotiveflux.com. You can pick up one of these cool Bugo stickers there. And it's also supported by you, so please like and subscribe and all that cool stuff. Yeah, I've been putting out a lot of videos recently, but it'll get back to normal soon. More high quality automation content coming up. All right, let's get into this. So there are quite a few benefits of just getting the footage and not having to run them myself. And one of those ones is I don't have to suffer the pain and misery that comes with bringing some of these cars around the track. But that's already been done for me by, again, our tame racing driver. He's quite good at racing stuff, at least in games, and I am not, as you will probably see. My lap on this course with the demo vehicle that I was using just to see what it was all about managed to do a 151, I think, and let's just use that as a benchmark as we're moving forwards here. So the first vehicle to run was the Snakebite. I'm not actually sure if that was the order that he went in, but that's the first one we're going to be looking at. And I just wanted to sort of talk about this car as it goes around the track because these runs are fairly short. Basically, he just did one lap of the Hirochi Long race circuit with a standing start, and I'm sure he gave him multiple tries for each of them to try and get the best one. But again, being somebody who's quite good at these kind of things, I'm assuming that these times came fairly easy to him, at least with some of these cars. So the notes on this one in particular were very good handling with a manageable amount of oversteer. Keep in mind this, or understeer, sorry. Keep in mind that this car is rear wheel drive, and it was never really made to be a decent driver, but turns out it's actually a pretty good all-rounder. Definitely the most enjoyable car of the lot, he says, which is great. At least one of the cars is enjoyable. And then he says also, if he had to choose a car to daily drive, this would be it. Not saying he's necessarily into trucks, but I think it's just an all-around good vehicle. But as we're running through some of the fast corners on this track, you'll notice that it's really stable, and the car itself is just doing well throughout this run, which is great. Like when I originally made the Snakebite, I wasn't trying to make something that was particularly useful. It was initially created just to be super low and annoying, but now it's actually one of the best all-around vehicles in this challenge, and coming up with a pretty good time as we're about to see. Let's wait for it to cross the line here. I'm not going to show you all of the runs, like every second of every run, because some of them are a lot slower than others, but that is a pretty classy 143 to take first place so far. First place of the only car run, but not bad a time, actually, not bad at all. Up next for our order is the Red Rocket, as you would suspect. The fastest vehicle by a long shot. Looks like he's driving it in manual mode because it is a dual clutch, which is kind of fun. This run, as you may suspect, is very short, and yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's sort of the way things go with this car. It has over 2,000 horsepower, it's front-wheel drive, and it's dangerous as heck. So let me read the notes that he gave me for this one. Understeer returns with its friend wheel spin, because yes, this thing wheel spins in every gear, and it is front wheel drive with over 2,000 horsepower, so understeer is beautiful. It's fast considering the handling suffers from the wheel spin and understeer. Again, not particularly surprising. Required the most tries to make a good lap with. Again, very predictable for this car. And then the only one that he actually crashed when testing. It's hitting like every single possible stereotype, which is to be expected for something that I've titled the Red Rocket. As I said before, this thing could definitely do with some all-wheel drive, but it was made as a bit of a meme to be front-wheel drive and wicked quick, and it serves its purpose a little bit too well, to be honest. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a very unique car, and one that definitely fits the spirit of the contest. But I'm happy to see it actually doing something here. Coming up to the time, that is a 1:33, putting it in first place by 10 seconds. Wow, that is darn quick, if I do say so myself. Right, so third on our list of cars to run here is the Hugo, well, it's obviously the slowest vehicle by a significant long shot, and that just gives us some time to talk about its run because, spoilers, it's quite a bit slower than what we've been seeing. Don't worry about that though, this thing has a top speed of around 80 kilometers an hour, and I imagine it didn't take that many runs in order to get a perfect line set up for it, as pretty much the exact same thing happened with me when I was driving it last week. So in terms of the notes, it's the slowest lap that he's ever done on this course, which is hilarious, and you'll see the time in a bit. He says it's so slow that it doesn't need brakes, and I agree with him on that. Also, the brakes are woefully inadequate, so it's kind of good that you don't need them because they're not really there to begin with. Handling is surprisingly good, he says, but I'm wondering if that just has to do with the fact that the car can really only go 80 kilometers an hour, but most of the time it's more around 60. I mean, as we watch it here rounding some of these corners, it looks pretty planted, it looks pretty solid, but again, it's just so darn slow that I don't really see any other way for this car. There are some significantly faster ones that people have made in the Discord, and I guess this is probably the time, because we have a lot of time for this one, to talk about the cars that you saw at the beginning of this video. If you want your car there, the last chance is this coming week. So before Thursday, post it in the automotiveflux channel on my Discord. So yeah, you'll see it there. Well, coming around the final corner, the Hugo is hastily doing 72 kilometers an hour. That's got to be a record. And coming up to the final time for this car, it's a 2:45. Hey. Yeah, now that is the slowest one by a long shot. Very, very slow, and absolute dead last. Don't be surprised. Alright, so up next is the Magic 302. This is a weird car because it has a lot of problems, specifically with gear shifting. You gotta use the clutch manually, otherwise the thing does not work properly. And from the looks of things, it seems like he is using the clutch manually, although I think he was driving with a controller. So I'm not 100% sure, but that's okay. Regardless of the outcome, this car is a very interesting one. It's got 50 horsepower, but it has a massive engine, and that means, well, it's got a boatload of torque. It's rear-wheel drive. It's built like a sports car, but overall it just completely lacks in power, and also the transmission is just absolute hot trash, so yeah, not making things very good for it, but that's okay. That's to be expected. Whenever I was making these cars, I wanted to make them quirky, and I definitely succeeded at that. So the notes on this car, basically, very fun to drive, he says, which is good. Lots of grip considering how narrow the tires are. Yeah, they are extremely narrow because I wanted to make it light. And he says the gearbox is slow to shift. We've already covered that in a few videos though, but yeah, the gearbox is just hot trash, and basically it never reaches the proper RPM in order for the gearbox to shift by itself, so that's why you have to do it manually. Even though it's a manual transmission, you got to use the clutch basically to make this car work, so it's very weird. I would suggest if you wanted to try it, you can get it off my Discord and then make your own crappy version of it, maybe give it a little bit more power, and yeah, proper gearbox in there and it'll be ripping. I can guarantee that. Rounding the last corner, this car is doing pretty darn good. That is not a bad time at all. It looks like it's setting itself up for third place, a 1:59. Ooh, a pretty high 1:59 as well. Very good time, as we shall soon see. So last but not least is the Turd Prime, also the massive Amazon Prime monster truck. Basically it is garbage, but it's not bad. Like, the engine is actually fairly decent in this. It's just extremely unstable due to its height and also its width as well. The wheels are massive and they don't need to be. It's probably very hard to drive, which makes things even more interesting for this challenge. So the notes on this one say felt heavy, lots of understeer, largest vehicle I have ever driven on this course, and surprisingly fast time for a monster truck. So very much in line with what I'm thinking as well. But the thing is that currently the order is fairly obvious. We got the Red Rocket, Snakebite in second place, and then the Magic 302 is in third above the Hugo. But this car is the one that could potentially dethrone that third position. It is quick, and it has proven itself in the past to be faster than the Ferrari, which makes things interesting because I think it's very course dependent on which one of them is actually quicker. Like, obviously the Prime has a much better engine, it's got a lot more power, but it's just so unstable and so uncontrollable that it makes it difficult to get it around the track in a safe manner. But yeah, the opposite thing is true with the 302, so kind of weird to see it that way. But I don't know, like, overall, this being our last run kind of determines our results, and soon we shall see. Flailing around the last corner, and the Prime is coming into the finish line. Let's see, 1:59, and it's over 2 minutes. That is a 2:01.943. Basically 1 second and a bit off. Pretty darn quick. By 1 second, I actually meant 2 seconds, but that's okay. Very close time overall between the Amazon Prime and the Magic 302, but in the end, the Magic 302 gets third place. So looking at our results overall, well, after these results, things have not really changed that much. As of event number 3, the Red Rocket was in first, Amazon Prime was in second, and the Snakebite was in third. This time around, however, it's changed up, so the Red Rocket is still in first. The Snakebite is in second overall instead of third, and the Amazon Prime is in third, with the Magic 302 in fourth and the Hugo in fifth. Dead last for the Hugo. Its reign of terror is well over. A lot of the challenges so far have been kind of speed oriented, and it's made some of these vehicles just shine a lot better than others. Obviously stuff like the Hugo is not going to win these contests whenever it has anything to do with power or speed, but yeah, it's kind of fun to see it participate still. 8.9 out of a possible 20 points is not great, but it's not bad. It's performing a lot better than I thought it would. Red Rocket is clearly winning this, and yeah, we still have 2 more ways to get through it though. Event number 5 and the final thing that I've been doing. We'll see who comes out on top with that. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video as well. It's been a bit of a shorter one, but I'm pretty excited for the rest of the series. There'll be a playlist in the description and also in the pinned comment that you can go and check out to see all of the videos in this series if you want to. But yeah, this has definitely been the shortest event. That's not a bad thing. Thank you again to our tame racing driver for bearing these cars around the track. And if you want to test them yourself, go download them off my Discord. They're all there for you and ready to go. But with that, I'll see you again in event number 5. And yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. See you again soon. Alright, it's time to thank those who have chosen to support this channel via the join button. You'll notice if you're a member, and I think everybody can see this, but if you go to my channel page, there's a little thing that has all your profile pictures in it, which is really cool. So you get a bit of an extra boost for being members now. That's not something I enabled, it just happens to be there. So thank you, YouTube, for that. But we have Overlord, QT Bear, Terry01, J. Pope, Davis Heister, The German Dude, Nat64, Sin Lab, Jared Grigg, Goofy Plays, Badger, and Phoenix Shark. Thank you, everybody, for for continuing to be members. I appreciate you a lot. Some of you are like approaching 3 years, which is insane. It's kind of crazy to me that this channel is even going for 3 years. Like, there have definitely been some ups and downs, but we are growing again, and I'm very thankful for it. Yeah, you guys are awesome, keeping me consistent throughout. But yeah, that's gonna be it. See you guys again soon. And yeah. Oh man, I'm tired.